You are listening to Small Business Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives small business owners the straight talk on productivity, time management, business systems, leading your teams, strategic decision-making, and mindset. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the productivity specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. Today is episode 404, Collaborating with Your Bookkeeper for Best Results with Misa Bacon. If you're a small business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate your productivity to maximize profit, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. I'm looking forward to bringing back our guest, Misa Bacon. Yes, Misa Bacon was a guest here on the podcast previously. She was episode 353, The Pathway to Better Bookkeeping. Misa Bacon is the founder and CEO of Perfectly Kept Books, a company dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs take control of their finances. As a bookkeeping expert and QuickBooks Pro, she makes managing money feel approachable and stress-free. Misa's mission is to empower women to build strong financial foundations for their businesses. Her warm, friendly approach helps her turn complex financial topics into a calming, even fun experience. When she's not working with clients, she's enjoying watching movies, reading, and listening to her favorite playlist. Now, before we jump in, I do want to invite you to take my Next Level Business Owner quiz. If you have not already done so, I want you to hit pause. Take 3 short minutes to take this quiz to uncover what is most holding you back from taking your business to the next level. And once you uncover what's holding you back, you are going to get a curated playlist of episodes from this podcast that address those specific challenges and have actionable strategies you can implement immediately. So head on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz. And now let's meet our guest and get to the straight talk. Misa, welcome back. I enjoyed our conversation so much that I just reached out to you and said, please come back and talk to me again. And so we're here. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Amber, for having me back. I'm so glad to be back.
Absolutely. Well, we were just, previewing what we are going to talk about, and you seem pretty excited about it. I'm excited about it. And I don't know many people that get excited about talking about bookkeeping. So if you're thinking, oh no, I'm not tuning into today's episode, stay tuned because you got 2 people that are going to geek out. And more importantly, we want to show you, I want to say a better way, a new, it shouldn't be a new way, but a way in which you can work with your bookkeeper and get the results that I think you deserve as a business owner.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I told you what my experience was before we hit record and why I wanted this conversation. I'm going to actually tee it off to you and you share with us, what do you see out in the wild? So when someone comes to you, and I could only liken it to they've been in very dysfunctional relationships prior to working with you. What are you seeing out in the wild when we consider, what is the relationship between business owner and bookkeeper?
Okay. What I see, so for the ones who have worked with a bookkeeper before, a bookkeeper or accountant, whoever's handled their books, a lot of times it's not the best relationship. It's usually one-sided where the bookkeeper or accountant, they're the professionals. So it's like they're the ones in charge. The business owner has no say. They can't really do anything or say anything. It's like, no, don't say anything. I'm the expert. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. You don't need to worry about it. Just kind of leave it alone and let it be. And anytime I hear that, I'm like, that's interesting because at the end of the day, the books belong to the business owner. So if anyone should be able to ask questions or inquire or just make sure they understand what's happening, it should be the business owner. And so anytime I hear that, I always tell people, I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, don't
Yeah.
let anyone tell you can't ask a question or you can't look at your books or you can't understand what's going on, because they are your books at the end of the day and you're responsible for them. Even if they're handling it for you, ultimately you're responsible for them and you're wanting to use that information and you can't use it if you don't even understand what it is.
Yes, to all of that. When you say they're ultimately responsible for it, what do you mean? Can you expand on that?
So your numbers are yours. And one, at the end of the day, for your business, you want good numbers, not just for, to file taxes, because that's where everyone goes. They're like, I want to file taxes. So yes, you do need it for that. But you want to actually use that information to help you run your business. So if you don't know what the numbers are, if you don't know what's going on, if you're not making sure that things are in the right place, you won't have accurate information to use for your business. And so at the end of the day, it is your responsibility. So it's your responsibility to communicate with the bookkeeper. Let them know when things are happening. If you're not hearing from them, you reach out. Like,
Mhm.
there should be constant communication. Like, not every day. You don't have to call them on the phone or talk to them every day, but on a monthly basis, if you have a monthly bookkeeper, you should be hearing from them monthly. Even if that means at a bare minimum, it's just them asking a question or two on some transactions, like clarification, like what is this, what's going on? Or even if it's just for you to share some updates in your business. Hey, I'm going to be traveling this week. So when you see things happening this week, it's all travel related expenses. That helps your bookkeeper to do your books better because they understand what's happening. If you have
Yes.
changes in your business, oh, I just started a new service and, you know, this is going to be different than what I've normally done. Okay, let's adjust the books so that we can now accommodate for this new service and track it so that we can see if that new service is even worth it. So it's just like things like that you want to communicate with your bookkeeper so that you're both on the same page. You don't want it to just fully rely on the bookkeeper and you just kind of close your eyes and say, well, they have it. No, it's a collaboration. So it's not
Yeah.
just them doing it by themselves. You're working together to make sure that the books are in perfect order, but then also they work for you as far as the setup, the reports,
Mm.
everything works for you. So then you can take that information and use it to help you run your business.
Yes. And I play both sides. Like, I'll tell a client, look, they're not mind readers. Somehow you think that they can just mind read what all these
Yes.
expenses are and where they go. They're not a mind reader. You shouldn't expect them to be. Communication needs to go both ways. But also, they shouldn't make assumptions and
Yes.
just say, it's easier for me to just throw it in this category than to ask questions. And so, a healthy two-way communication is what's needed. What I
Yes.
see too frequently is a couple things. I'm going to say it with a deep breath. Uh, they are hiring someone when you said monthly, meaning, okay, we reconcile your books, we give you your reports, your P&Ls, your balance sheet monthly. That's what the service they're getting paid for is. And months and months and months go by and no reports are being provided. And I have just seen it over and over. They're like, well, they'll get to it. And I don't really want to bug them for it. And my position is, no. We request this once with expectations. There's no bugging them. You've hired them for a service. This should be in your inbox on the 15th of the month, the 10th of the month. I mean, even if you said the 25th of the month, whatever that time frame is that was agreed upon and they were hired for, that's the standard. But unfortunately, I don't see that. I'll get on with a client. I'm like, great, pull up your financials. It'll be towards the end of the month. They're like, oh, I haven't gotten them in a couple months. I'm like, well, we're going to stop what we're doing. You're going to send an email right now requesting and I want you to say, I just met with my business coach. She's requested to review my numbers and I didn't have reports to provide for her. Can you get those to me? I'm like, I don't mind being the bad guy. Blame it on me. And the other thing that I've seen is they have no access to, they don't even have a login for their QuickBooks. Like, they have no access to it. And I always want my clients to feel empowered of, I'm not saying like go click around and like change things. I'm saying click around to view your own reports, drill down. I want you to feel empowered. These are, to your point, your numbers. Why do you think there's a disconnect between the business owner feeling like these are my numbers and I own them and kind of abdicating it? Like, well, I hire a bookkeeper, they'll handle it all.
I think part of the disconnect is that on one side, the business owner's feeling like, okay, I hired someone and they're just going to do everything and they're going to take care of everything and I'm completely hands off. But it's not real. You're not really hands off in the sense that you just don't need to be involved at all. Like you're not in there doing the day to day. You're not updating your QuickBooks, but you should still be involved as far as, okay, are things in the right place? Do we have the right categories? Are my reports set up the right way? You know, do I know where to go if I need to pull a report? Like, if I can't, like, say it's just a random report I need to pull that is outside of my normal monthly reports. Can I go do that? And you should be able to. These are your books. You should have full access to them. You should be able to pull whatever reports you need. And your bookkeeper, it's like your little support system there. So I have clients where they're like, "Hey, how can I pull this report or how can you show me how to do this?" Yes, I can definitely do that. Do we need to set up a custom report for you? I can set up the report and it's ready for you. So it's not just, "Oh, I hired a bookkeeper, I'm hands off, I'm not really involved." It's, "Okay, I hired a bookkeeper to handle this for me, but now we're going to collaborate on this." So they're going to do the day to day, but I'm going to work with them to make sure they have the information they need to update the books accurately. But then they're also going to help support me and provide me with guidance and answer my questions when things come up. Because that has happened. I literally have clients where they're like, I need to pull this report. I don't know where to go. I can tell them where to go. Or
Yes.
even if it's like, okay, hey, let me pull this really quick, or I'll pull the report and I'm going to show you where to find it. Because that's what I can do. I can set up a report and share it with them so that all they have to do is go push the button. So it's working together, and it's not just the bookkeeper's over here and the business owner is over here. We're actually together in one place working together. And I think on the bookkeeper side of it, sometimes as professionals, it's almost like, you know, they wanna lock the business owner out, and it's like, we don't wanna lock them out. Like, yes, we don't want them touching things. Like, I don't
Yes.
want you touching things if I wanna touch it. Like, if we need to change something or do something, tell me so I can touch it, because I can always tell when a client has gone in the books. I always know.
Yeah.
So we don't
I'm not telling my clients to go touch those things at all. I do know that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that might be an expensive mistake. We're not doing that.
Yes.
But you can go look with your eyes. You can
Yes.
see, or at the very least, just ask, like you're saying, like
Yes.
communicate for sure. So, yes,
Exactly.
fine line. We don't want you messing around and making more problems for your bookkeeper. But why would you like this is why I invited you back is because I just got like you're totally transparent and it was because of all your corporate experience and how you wanted to serve business owners differently than many other bookkeepers do. But if you had to guess why so many other bookkeepers are not about transparency, meaning what would be the reason of not even giving a login to the QuickBooks that the client's paying for the subscription on?
You know, I still don't even understand it. I'm like, this is their stuff. Like, why can't they have access to it? If if we are in agreement with who does what and who touches what, we should be fine. So if the
Mhm,
client knows, hey, the business owner
mhm,
knows, yes, these are your books, you have access to them, they belong to you. Like if we part ways, like there's not going to be an issue. Like I'm not going to hold your stuff hostage. It
mhm,
all belongs to you. And that's the belief that I have is all of this belongs to them.
mm,
It's not mine. Like it's mine in the sense that I do support them. I'm a part of their business, but their books ultimately are theirs. So if they need access, if they need to figure out how to do something, I want them to know how to do it. I want them to feel empowered, even though they're not in there doing it day to day and they don't know all the buttons. But if they need to know what is that one button I need to push so that I can get to that thing that I need to get to, I
yes,
want them to know how to do that. And it's almost like a feeling like where bookkeepers, it's just like they just, I don't know, it's like they want to lock them out of things, even when it comes to like questions. They don't feel like, a business owner can question them because I'm the professional. So I know it and you don't. And I know a little bit, like I know what I know as a bookkeeper, but the person who knows the most about the business is the business owner.
Yes.
They're the ones, they're going to have all the answers that I need because they're in it day to day. They know what they did yesterday. They know when they went to Office Depot yesterday what they purchased. I have no clue, especially if I don't have a receipt or anything. I don't know what they did, but they do. They know what's happening and changing in their business every single day. I don't always know that because I'm not there with them every day. So I always look at it as like, I need them just as much as they need me. Because if we're going to work together and make sure the books are where they need to be and also provide you with the information that you need, we're going to have to work together. Like I as a bookkeeper, I can do what I know as far as, okay, we can set up the books this way and this is going to be good, but we can have great books if we work together and personalize it a little bit so that you can get that information you need. So maybe it's you have two different revenue streams and right now everything is lumped in sales. That's not very helpful for you.
No, it is
So
not.
so if we're talking, I'm like, okay, what are your revenue streams? And you're like, okay, well, I have services and I also have digital products. Okay, let's split that up and let's see where are you making the money? Because then if you look and you see your digital products are taking off and your services really aren't, they're not bringing in as much money. Maybe you can shift your focus and not have to push as much on your services and you can really push your digital products. So just getting something as simple as setting up separate income categories, something so simple that can have such a huge impact. Because when you start to look at those reports and you're like, wait a minute, I have been spending all this time working on this and trying to promote this, and it's not bringing in any money.
Right? It's
But
not
this other thing, this other thing is. So
Yes. It's not able to tell you a story at all. And then your
exactly.
bookkeeping is just for taxes, but there's so much more that can be told through these reports. And I think you make a good point. So I just want to say, look, I am not picking on bookkeepers, accountants, okay, whoever's handling the books. We have yet so far talked about that side of it, but I am straight up with my business owners. Like, you can't ghost your bookkeeper. Again, they're not, this is a two-way functional, healthy relationship, important relationship that we want. So you've said it several times, but I'm just going to highlight it. What you keep saying is tell your bookkeeper there's a new service. Tell them that it was printing services, not office supplies at Office Depot or Mac, because maybe that's a different category. Really understanding it. So we both want to show up and communicate and give the information that's needed to create an accurate picture that tells, I'm loosely using the word story, but a story about like what do these numbers mean to the business? For example, how you said revenue. One of the first things that I do when I work with a client is go through their P&L with them. And I just ask questions because I'm also understanding their business. So I will say things like, tell me what this service means, this line item, tell me this, tell me that. And they don't know. And it could have been bookkeepers ago that created some random service offering. And then the next one came in and named it something different. And then somebody else is in there. And so like even the same service is being split over two line items on income. I've seen it all. I've seen expenses where I'm like, okay, because this is part of me understanding the business. I'm like, great, tell me what this expense is and what are you paying for? Blank. Like completely blank. And there is no judgment by me. This is great. So when we're done with this call, these are all the questions you're going to go back and ask your bookkeeper for clarity. And that might be the first time they've ever asked, what am I actually seeing on my P&L? What do these numbers mean? What types of things are being categorized under this category so that they can better understand their business themselves?
Yes, and that's one of the first things I like to do, especially when working with a new client. And it's always evolving. So, as things change, like we make updates, and so we update the books to accommodate the changes. But one of the first things I like to do is, okay, we can start off with a very set of basic foundational books, but then I'm like, okay, so what are your different revenue sources? Okay, now let's get on the expenses. We have some generic categories, but do we need to rename things to make it make more sense to you? So like if you see cost of goods sold, does that make sense to you? If you see advertising and marketing, do you automatically know off the top of your head what goes in there? Or do we need subcategories? Do we need to rename things in a way that when you see it, you know exactly what it is versus, just something generic or just a general category. And so that's usually what I like to do is we can start with the basics, but then we're going to go break it down and personalize it so that the business owner will know what it is. When they see something, it's like, okay, are these project expenses? So it's
Mhm.
all of these expenses are in here are directly related to the project that you're working on. So you know what it is versus just saying, job supplies or something. We need to know what things are. The business owner especially needs to know what they are so that when they see that report, they're going to know. And that's why I always like to break down what certain things are and then say, okay, do we need to rename it or what's going to make the most sense to you? And then also reconfiguring the P&L for them. Okay, well, let's now break down, do you have some direct costs? So are there things that are directly related to you bringing in that revenue? Let's split those out from just your everyday ordinary business expenses that you're going to have anyway, because now you need to see how much is it costing you to get a client
Mm.
versus how much is it costing you just to run your business? Because now you need both numbers. Because then
Yes.
you can see how much is it costing me to get a client? Am I charging enough to cover those costs plus cover running my business? So it's putting all the pieces together, but then you put them together in a way that's going to make sense for you as the business owner. So it's not just income and then all these expenses and you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and that's what I see so frequently is vagueness, generalizing, lumping it together. Because let's be honest, when you do your taxes, that's all they want is like a line
Yes.
item. It's just going to say marketing. It's just going to say office supplies. Like the IRS doesn't want to know all those
Mm-hmm.
details. But that might be the detail that you need to be making decisions in your business or understanding where there's opportunity or where there's leaks. And so, would you say that it's a red flag if a client asks their bookkeeper to customize a category name or add new categories and they get pushback, resistance?
Yes. Yes. Because what is there to resist? Like these are their books. If this category name change is going to help the business owner understand what something is or better understand the reports, why not do it? Like
Yes.
it's not hurting you, it's not hurting anyone. And then tax time, this tax accountant, they'll probably either be able to figure it out, they can ask the business owner themselves, or actually collaborate with you. I
Mhm.
have a lot of the tax accountants I work with directly that my clients' accountants can reach out to me if they have questions on the books or hey, what is this? And I most likely know exactly what it is because I'm in there all the time. So
Yes.
it's not when it comes to tax because I know that's where a lot of people go is tax time. It's like tax time is not going to be a problem if your books are organized because we can always figure out what category to tie the tax return to. But we're worried about your day to day, everyday running of your business. And that's what we want your reports to help you do.
Right.
So if you can't do that, then we have a problem. And if your bookkeeper isn't willing to work with you and help you to customize in a way where you're like, this is going to help me to make more sense of my numbers, that's a problem. And that's probably not the bookkeeper for you.
I agree. Now, I've had instances where we've had a coaching session or we're just getting acquainted and I made some recommendations on how they could make tweaks to the P&L to better understand it and understand where their numbers are. And my client will come back and say, "Yeah, they're saying like that's kind of hard or there's some resistance or like I mean, it changes the flavor, but it's the same thing." And then I'll say, great. So ask them how much it will be to do the service that you're asking them to do. Because if they're saying that it's hard, or maybe the assumption is it's not included in the monthly fee, great, let's get that on the table. No one has ever charged after that second question gets asked. Okay, so how much will you charge? It's not if you're going to do it. Okay, the assumptive close is you are actually going to do it. So just tell me how much it's going to be. And there's not, because between you and me, we both know it is just not that hard to
No,
change the name of a category in
it's
QuickBooks to
not.
better understand your numbers.
It's not. Oh my god, no. I mean, and I've reconfigured whole charts of accounts, and even that is not hard. Once I get the information that I need from the client, and they're telling me, "Hey, I want to reconfigure it this way." Okay, we can do that. Now, is it going to be time that I didn't expect to go change their chart of
Yep.
accounts? Yes, but is it like something that's going to take like hours and hours and just be so difficult? No.
Yes. And that's the thing is I look, they're a business owner too. So I said, great, just ask them, because I don't know what the agreement is. I'm just coming into the business. Like, I don't know what the agreement is of the monthly fee that's paid or however it's set up. So let's just get it on the table. Great. So to do this that I'm asking, because I do know it's a time trade, how much will it be? Well, it's hard to say when you're like, oh, it's going to be 15 minutes now that you just pushed back in the previous email and it really wasn't, that big of a deal. And when I say 15 minutes, I mean, it could just be renaming 2 things that clarifies it. Now, if you're going deep strategy and overhauling, I do expect to pay for those services. And that's a service that I would encourage you to pay for so that there's an ROI on the bookkeeping. Like, the ROI on bookkeeping shouldn't just be you get to file your taxes to pay more money to the IRS or to the government. The ROI should be that it's impacting how you make decisions in the business or how you better understand your business. As it is, they're already lagged numbers, right? So you close out the month, you get your books on the 15th, maybe even the 25th, they're already behind.
Mm-hmm.
You add another month, another quarter to that. How much of an impact, what decisions can you make that are actually going to impact it if you're not seeing these regularly? And when you get them, you understand what you're seeing.
Exactly.
So we kind of went in a different direction, but I just want to circle back that if you are not getting your numbers on a regular basis, whatever you've paid for, so great. If you're paying for quarterly reports, then get them quarterly. If you're getting a monthly, get a monthly. But when I've had clients that never even had access and they're like, well, they didn't send me the report. And I'm like, no problem. Log in and we're going to get that report right now. And they're like, I don't have a login. So then they get a login. And then we realize they are months and months behind. That's where the transparency and the resistance is happening, is that they're cashing that check for the service, but the bookkeeper is months and months behind actually doing the bookkeeping. And that's what they don't want the client to see at some times. Now, again, I'm just saying, if you think that's happening, if you were to hire somebody to do anything else in your business, would it be okay that you're paying them every week or every month and they're like, yeah, I'll get to you when I get to you, but keep sending me the money? I feel that there's a double standard because there's this thing about the numbers and I don't understand them. So who am I to have any expectation in the services that are provided? You don't need to understand the numbers to know that you're not getting a good service if you're not getting a good service.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that is probably one of the things too, is that bookkeepers know that a lot of business owners don't know what they don't know. And so it's easy to get away with things because they know that the business owner doesn't know. They know that when they log into QuickBooks, it's going to be so overwhelming and they're not even going to know where to look or what to look for. So it's okay. It's okay if, you're, a little bit behind. They're not going to know. They're not going to know the difference. And so when they do know, then it's them being able to provide a little bit of oversight. And I don't really think many bookkeepers want business owners to provide that oversight. Which is, I want it. I want you to let me know if I'm doing something wrong. Let me know if you see something out of place, or let me know so that I can make sure that we're both on the same page and the books are where they need to be.
Yes.
But I think a lot of times that's not what bookkeepers want. They want to kind of be in their own little world, doing whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it. And then the business owner just has to kind of go along with it and be fine with it and continue to pay them and not have a problem or issue. And it's all, well, I'm the bookkeeper. You don't need to worry about it. It's my job, just kind of stay over there. And that's a big problem.
Yes. I want to know, so if we ask for, say, an update and there's pushback or resistance, that's a red flag. What are some other red flags that maybe they need to be considering, either redefining that relationship? Because I'm not going to say, just like with our employees, we're not going to go jumping to firing anybody. It might be about redefining expectations, having that conversation. Because I do want to say, if you've been with somebody for a long time or years, and then suddenly you have a business coach and you're like, now I care about my numbers and now I want them to look a certain way, that's not exactly fair to that person either. So, having that communication and setting a new standard and then seeing, can they meet those standards, may just save the relationship and it's great service. So again, we don't jump to firing. But
Right.
if we needed to redefine the relationship and or look for additional services, what are some other flags that a business owner is not getting the service that they could be getting?
Something I like to talk about that most people don't think about when they're like, "Oh, I need to hire a bookkeeper," is personality matches. A lot of time, like there are a ton of bookkeepers out there, and a lot of times people will go with who, someone referred them to, or just, a recommendation, or just, maybe the first person they find, and not really getting in a gauge on if their personalities match.
Mm,
Every bookkeeper is different. You probably won't find another bookkeeper like me, exactly like me. There may be some close, but not really. And that's the thing, finding a bookkeeper who's going to match how your personality is. So if you're like, I need to be able to, like, can they communicate with me via text? Because I'm not going to check my email. Or maybe I need to hop on Zoom calls because, like, if we need to go into something, I need to hop on a Zoom call. So because that's the best way that I can interact and learn.
yeah, or see it.
Perfectly.
They want to
It's or
see it on
see
the screen. Yes.
exactly. So
Uh-huh.
understand, like, them understanding you as the business owner, but then also you understanding them as a bookkeeper and making sure the personality matches. Because you don't have to go with the recommendation. You don't have to go with whoever someone referred you to. You can check them out and see if you even like being on the call with them. Do you even like being in their presence? Is it even enjoyable? Because the numbers, it's not the fun part of business, but we want to make it as fun as possible. We want to
Mhm.
make it where you might still get a little bit, you might feel a little uneasy, but you're going to show up to the call and you're going to be ready to learn, ready to ask questions, ready to dive in, and you want someone who's going to meet you right there where you are. So if you're scared to death of the numbers and you're like, I don't want to talk about it, you need someone who's going to be a little bit more patient with you. Not everyone has the same level of patience. So just looking for some of those key traits that you're probably not thinking about outside of just bookkeeping knowledge and,
Yeah.
can they do the books? Because that's a whole different story and situation that we can talk about. But do you even like them? Do you like talking to them? Do they make it an enjoyable experience? Even I literally have clients where, like, they'll just rant, like ranting on the different things happening in their business, and then looking at the numbers and saying, "Oh my goodness, like, oh, I didn't realize this." But then they're like, like, it was a lot, but now I know. And it's
Mhm.
better to know than to not know. And you just continue doing what you've been doing, and you never knew what you need to do to make the change.
Yes. You had just said something, so I have another follow-up question. We'll get to other red flags because we know there's more. Is it okay to, when you're interviewing or talking or doing a discovery call, to inquire if education is even part of the service? So if I don't understand something, I don't know something, or you've mentioned multiple things like showing them how to do something in QuickBooks or how to better read or understand their P&L, is that generally something that has to be understood and agreed upon before entering into a service
Y-
relationship?
Yes, because not every bookkeeper is willing or able to teach. And if that's something you need someone who can hop in and, show a little bit of compassion for you and teach you things or show you
Yeah.
things. Ask those questions and say, hey, this is something that I really need as a business owner. I need someone who, if I have a question, they're going to, answer the question and answer it in a way that I'm going to understand it. So, I mean, if that means, hey, I'm recording a quick video walking you through this situation so that now you have a video to refer back to, good, that's fine. I know how to work with you. If you're someone like, okay, don't email, just send me a quick text or, send me a screenshot or something. We can work together as far as how to best collaborate and communicate so that we're on the same page. And a lot of times, bookkeepers aren't thinking about how to best, you know, fit with the business owner. It's almost like, well, I have this bookkeeping service and this is what I do. You're just going to get with the program and not really consider, well, maybe this is a business owner who needs a little bit more hand holding. And
Right.
that's okay. That is
Yeah.
okay. We wanna hold your hand so that you can understand and get to the point where you're like, I feel more confident. I feel empowered now, and I feel a little bit better." And
Yes.
and when they get to that point, they're now 10 times ahead of most business owners
I
because
I agree. I agree. And you're right. Creating that relationship, being with somebody that you feel like you like to be around is going to create a more comfortable, to be a little vulnerable to say, hey, I don't
Yes.
understand this. I don't know that. When we're saying that there's intimidation with numbers, there's so many reasons why, like
Hmm.
money mindset. It could be that you didn't go to business school. Like everyone has all these stories and everyone's
Yes.
story is different. Whatever you're bringing to the table, can you be in relationship with someone that is as important as like, why do we do this whole thing called business is actually to make money, a living and impact our families. But then to not feel comfortable asking for that support, I think is selling yourself and that opportunity short and being with someone that you feel comfortable enough to say, I don't know the thing. Can you help me? And they're like, yes, not you're a burden or there's pushback or resistance. I want everyone to raise their standards to that level of service with their bookkeeper is that is okay to ask for. All right.
Yes.
What are some other red flags or things a business owner should consider when thinking that they might not be getting the high level service they deserve?
When you're considering just who your bookkeeper will be, because there are so many options. Like you could come to a bookkeeper like me. You can go to an accounting firm where they do handle bookkeeping within their services. You can go to like one of these large corporate services where they offer bookkeeping as a service, but realizing what you need. So, for example, if you go to an accounting firm where they offer all these different, they have taxes, and bookkeeping, it's a part of that. You may not get the best service because it's probably one of those lower level services for them. So they're not going to put as much time and energy into it versus someone like me. All I do is bookkeeping. So I'm going to put
Mhm.
plenty of time and energy into it because that's all I do. And then even if you think about like a corporate service where, like QuickBooks Live or something where it's going to be very standardized. There's not going to be much leeway in what you can do because they're going to have to stick to their process. That's how they can run their service efficiently and at the volume that they do. So just understanding what you really need. And if you need a little bit more personalization, a little bit more human connection, that's going to determine the bookkeeper that you choose. If you're someone who maybe you are a numbers person, you love it, and you just need someone to do it so you don't have to do it, then maybe you're fine with, just going to the accounting firm and letting them handle it or going to one of these corporate services. It's probably fine. But if you're
I
someone who
actually have seen the opposite, actually. My
Oh,
clients that
really?
yes. So my client, I just want to speak to this. Like maybe it's fine if you're ready to let go of like full control, but that's not usually the case. My clients that understand their numbers, and this is about delegating to buy back time, right?
Mhm.
I find it a difficult transition when it's no communication. They're like, no, 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 like I've set all this stuff up. I need someone that can do the day to day, but comply with our process and how we run our invoices. And they understand the deposits and the cash flow and like all of that. Because to your point, you go to these larger agencies or firms, they're like, well, you got to conform to our processes and systems. So someone that knows better or knows how it's been run, I actually find that to not be a fit because it's too structured, right? They want just
Yes.
someone to hand the baton to continue. And they're like, no, 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 here's how we do it.
Mhm. Exactly. And
Yes,
and you have to understand that about you and your business. If that is something you can do, then maybe it's fine. But if you're like, I need this very customized, personalized service, then you're probably going to look somewhere else to get
yes.
that level of service.
Okay, so I'm going to let you go with the next one. I just want to throw one of mine out
Sure.
that's coming up as you're thinking. So if you go with a company that has like, it's like an agency model where there's a business owner and then they have multiple, maybe it's another small business, but they have multiple bookkeepers underneath it. And you're like, great, it's humming along. And then they change out, that bookkeeper leaves, they change out with somebody else, and you don't know because you're not talking to them because that's not happening either, and you're like, wow, my numbers are wrong, or things are being categorized completely different now than they were. And so now I'm not seeing apples to apples. It's okay. Like I always tell my clients this too. I'm like, the person you're going to call with this complaint is a business owner. And like you want to know if your staff is not performing well. Like that, there's no intimidation to this. What happened most likely is your account got pushed to somebody else. They do it in a different flavor. That may have not been communicated to you. Let's all get back on the same page. Like, have that conversation.
Yes. Because when it comes to just the doing of the bookkeeping, because this just leads me to another red flag, or a red flag in my book. You want to know that the service is going to be consistent, or as consistent as possible. And typically, because even I'm like, I have a bookkeeper that works with me. So I work directly with her to make sure she understands this is what's happening in the books. This is how we're doing it. This is how I want it done, so that we're on the same page.
Yes.
And so the clients are getting what I expect, but then I'm also double checking. So I'm reviewing the books and making sure everything is good before they go out the door. And then if something comes back, it's perfectly fine. If something comes back, oh, something is miscategorized, perfectly fine. That's an opportunity. That's a learning opportunity to be like, hey, this is what happened. This is what we want to tweak. This is what we want to fix, so that next time we won't have that come up. But it's always a learning opportunity. And that's the thing with working with people, is you have to give them room to learn.
Yes.
And that's also the only way that, like, I would be able to grow my business. I can only do so much as one person.
Yes.
And so I'm going to have to lean on other people to be able to go in and do the books. But then I can set an expectation of what I want the books to look like and how it's done. Like, I want it done the perfectly kept books way. So this is what that is, and setting those expectations, and also providing the training to say, okay, this is how I see things. This is how I think through things. So you can also understand my process. And then maybe that'll help you, change your perspective or see things a little different, or just even working in the books. Like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know that I could use this particular screen, or I could do this thing, all those things. And it's all a learning process. So that's my little thing.
What I loved is that you, in that example, you're like, and maybe something comes back, but it's neutral. It didn't have to mean anything. And that's what I'm saying is, like, first of all, they're not a mind reader. So if you don't ever say anything, how are they going to know that it's not the category you prefer?
Yes.
And then the second point is, it shouldn't look like a criticism. It should look like, hey, maybe you just have a preference. Like, you are paying them. So if you have a preference, share that preference with.
Yes.
Because it's not black and white. Like taxes, it's like pretty black and white. Like, this is, I don't know, maybe not. There's a lot of gray in taxes. I kind of take that statement back. But it's just the numbers.
Yes.
But in bookkeeping, there are preferences in how you want your books kept. As a leader of your company, you get to share those.
Yes.
And request them. And it doesn't need to mean anything.
No, not at all. And that's, I appreciate it when a client is like, I want to see things this way. Perfectly fine. We can definitely do it that way. It's not because it doesn't do anything to me. Like, it doesn't hurt me to be like, oh, well, they want their books this way. It's going to help them. And that's how I see it. If it's going to help them and make things easier, that's what I want to do, rather than trying to push back and say, no, we can't do that, because we can.
And there's the red flag. Like, if it's not seen through the lens of this is what the client wants and this is helpful for them, what it's seen as is, well, no, this is just the way we do it, or there's resistance. And I can't quite put my finger on it. That's why we're having this conversation. I just have seen it so frequently. And I love your attitude and perspective about it. And that is the essence of today's conversation. Is I don't care if you're outsourcing digital ads, you're outsourcing administrative VA work, you're outsourcing your office cleaning. When you're in partnership with another vendor that way, it's supposed to be collaborative, and it's a trade of services, not if you ask the janitor to make sure they clean the windows, that they're like, oh, sorry, we just don't do it that way. We only do it every fourth time. That's not really a lasting relationship for your office cleaners relationship. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Great. All right. So what other red flag do you have? How many do you have before I live? So
just one more. Just one more, because
okay.
I like to touch on this. So a question that you can ask when you're inquiring is, who is actually doing your bookkeeping? So within the accounting field in general, a lot of times the bookkeeping work is being outsourced, and being outsourced outside of the US. Me personally, I'm not a fan of that.
Did not know.
I like to keep things within the US and utilize people here because also just I want to support people here, but also knowing that they understand what's going on with US bookkeeping standards and understanding what's really happening and not just, checking a box. Because that's usually what happens when things are outsourced overseas. A lot of times they might not really have the knowledge. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. So it's like, hey, put this thing in this place. And then they're doing it. They're not really thinking about it or questioning it or anything like that. And that's where you lose a little bit of that personalization and human connection because you'll find a lot of times if that is the case, if you look and see who do you communicate with? Can you communicate with someone? Or is it just you have to like submit a question through some random little thing and hopefully get an answer? If you're reaching out to me to get an answer, you're going to get an answer from me. It's going to be me who's going to, it's me. Like, it might be my team member, maybe, but most likely it's me. Everything is going to flow through me. So it's, for me, that's something I am very passionate about is making sure that I keep the bookkeeping work here because people think that bookkeeping is just this, anybody can do it type of thing, but it truly is a skill. You really have to know how to do it and understand all the inner workings of what's happening to do it well. And that's just something I like to, make sure they clarify who is going to do the work. Do you have a team of people? Is it you? Is it being outsourced? Because that's also something maybe you don't want your work to be, you don't want your books to be outsourced to someone else. Maybe that's something that you don't want. So understanding that is also something to look out for because if they also don't want to share that, I would look at that as a red flag because I have no problem telling you, hey, it's me and a part-time employee right now. That is who's doing the work. So,
and you're looking at it and you're the one with the FaceTime with the client and the relationship, which I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. I get that outsourcing overseas is a challenge, but soon to be AI. But AI is not going to replace the nuance of your business, the relationship between you and your bookkeeper. Maybe it makes you, the bookkeeper's job, a little bit easier, but there's still human interaction.
Yes.
And this is why it always goes back to relationships and that you have a bookkeeper that's willing to be in relationship. We're going with healthy, functional relationship. That's what we're going to say.
Yes.
And wants to, you used the word many times in this conversation, collaborate, communicate, and overseas, probably not going to cut it. Too many middlemen. AI, not going to cut it. They're not going to understand the nuances of your business. And you may be working with a bookkeeper now that's not wanting collaboration, communication, or a functional relationship. And what Misa and I wanted for this interview was that you just raised your standards because you deserve it. I believe you work so hard for your money. It's not just about keeping the money, it's about understanding the money. And this should be a great partnership. Your accountant, your bookkeeper, your CPA, and that's what I want to leave with. What would you like to leave with and say about this relationship other than that it should be a partnership?
No, I agree. Like, I see myself as a member of all of my clients' teams. It's really interesting to me that I know so much about their businesses. Like, sometimes I know things and they forget, but I remember. They're like, "Hey, what was this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I know what that is." And that's the type of relationship that we have. It's I am a team member, and you want to see them as that. They are on your team helping you to grow your business and move it forward. And it's not just someone over here who's doing the books for you, but they are a support system for you and your business. And that's what I like to look at it as. Like, I love my clients. They love me. We have great relationships. And that's what you want because it's a potential long-time partnership. Like, as long as you're in business, you could potentially have a bookkeeper the whole time if everything works well. There may be moments where you're like, maybe I do need to switch or adjust where something has changed in my business. So I need a different type of service, a different level of service. That happens. But for the most part, you'll probably keep your bookkeeper for a very long time. So you want it to be a relationship that you enjoy and that you actually want to bring along with you as your business evolves and as it grows. Because as you grow, I celebrate when all my
Right?
clients do.
Yes.
I love it. I love to see it because I can always say, I remember, 2 years ago when you came to me or when we saw this happening or you were worried about, growing your business or bringing revenue in. And then we look at you now and things have
Mhm.
changed, things have evolved. And it's amazing for me to see and to be able to celebrate with them because I am a part of their team as well.
All right. So as we close out, share with us how your company helps a business owner transition because I think that it's like, I'm just going to stick, even though I don't love it, it's going to be more painful to switch to another bookkeeper. So I want to share how you make that easier. And then also touch on the fact that I know you guys do cleanup. So we're talking about switching from someone that has a bookkeeper, but what if you didn't have a bookkeeper for a long time? And you're like, just the idea of getting my books cleaned up seems like too much to tackle.
So, as far as switching goes, well, I would say first have a conversation. So, have that conversation with your current bookkeeper to
Yes.
see if they're willing and able to accommodate what you need. If they are perfect, like continue to work with them and see if things work. But then if it does get to the point where you're like, I think I need to find someone else, one, I would say find them during the times when they're probably not as busy.
Mm,
Tax season, that's not the time to go looking for a bookkeeper.
yeah.
Same with don't look for a tax accountant. Tax January to April. No, that's not the time. The time to look for them would be, their slower times. So like you think late spring, summer, you know, as you get into the end of the year, like even holiday time. A lot of times we kind of, we're like, oh, it's holiday time, let's kind of chill. That's the best time to get in with a bookkeeper right before the new year. So then you can get things rocking and rolling and you're ready to go for the new year. So that's definitely the first word of advice is to avoid those times when they're busy because it's just a busier time of the year for them. And then when you approach them, lay it all out. Let them know, I'd say that understand where you are with your books. Come with the information. Let them know when did you last file your tax return because we need to know where your books need to start. We need to
Mhm.
know like how far back do we need to go? We need to understand where your books are. So try to have that information ready to go. And then something that I do anyway with a new client is I do a diagnostic review of their books anyway. So I'm going to go in there and poke around and see, okay, what's actually going on, what's happening, and bring up things as well. So it's like you had a bookkeeper, but I'm noticing your accounts haven't been reconciled, or just let them know things
Mhm.
so that they'll also know, oh, I need to make sure that my books are being reconciled or things are happening that should be happening. So that's the way that I like to approach it. And then we're pretty much we're starting from squares, we're starting from zero. So it's like you come to me and you're like, okay, we're gonna switch, we're gonna get everything in order, and then we'll just kind of go from there. The first like few months or so, it's gonna be a learning curve. It's me learning your business, it's you learning me. But then
Mhm.
it's after that, we're good. We're
Yes.
good. It's like I know you, I know what to expect, you know what to expect. We're collaborating, we're talking, we're working together, and then we have a process going. And that's what you want to happen. Like after you get through those kind of like first through few months or so, it should be just like
Smooth sailing.
smooth sailing. It should
High
be like
standards and smooth sailing is
yes,
what we want.
yes,
Raise your standards.
yes.
I
That's
feel
that's
like
what
I'm
should happen.
cheering on a girlfriend that's looking for a husband. I'm like, keep your standards high. I know it's hard out there, but go for it.
Yes. Because you're not limited. And I think a lot of times it can be overwhelming having to go find someone because think about how many bookkeepers are out there. There's a ton.
Yes.
So it's very overwhelming. So when you do find like go and find some people, interview them, like see how you feel about them, see what they say, ask questions, and especially when you can come to them with questions that they might not be expecting, like even just asking a random reconciliation question. So will my books be reconciled? Will my accounts be reconciled every month? Just asking random things like that because those are things they should be doing. Like, how often will you categorize transactions? When can I expect to get my reports? Can I customize for my reports? Like, asking questions like that so you can kind of gauge what they're going to do and what you can expect from them, and then kind of going from there.
Excellent. All right, Misa, thank you so much for being here. We're going to be sure to share out in the outro and the intro how to connect with you. But if anyone wants to share what's the best way to do that and how do they take that next step? Because when this publishes, we're going to be going right into the end of the year, which you happen to say was, look, we didn't plan this, but it happened to be the perfect time to get started fresh for the new year. So how do they do that?
You can definitely go to my website, perfectlykept.books.com. All the information you would need is there, and you can connect with me there.
Thank you so much for being here and having this conversation with me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Misa. My goal is that you have a bookkeeping partnership that is incredible, because finances, understanding your numbers, and having a great partnership is really, really important to your business. I don't want numbers and finances to be something that you turn away from or stick your head in the sand with. I want it to be something that you can grow and learn with as your business is growing. These numbers that you are getting from your bookkeeper are so critical in understanding your business, understanding the data that will help you make more strategic and most likely much better decisions for your business. And so, unfortunately, as you heard in this episode, I have been seeing it over and over again. This partnership is not always the best. It's often met with someone that says, this is just the way I do it. And that is good. That's fine. That is their business and they can do that. But if you need more from your financial numbers to better understand them, I want you to seek out a professional that is willing to work with you collaboratively and be a teacher and partner alongside you so that you're getting the most out of your financials. I need to be straight with you though. With this conversation might have struck a chord and hit home, but no change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So as you are listening to the episode today, were you thinking, oh my gosh, I really need to reach out to my bookkeeper and I need to ask questions. I need to see how we can better work together. Or maybe you don't have a bookkeeper and you're like, wow, this episode really inspired me to find that partner that can help me with my bookkeeping and allow me to better understand what's happening inside my business. Wherever you're at right now with your financials and your business, I want you to take a moment before you flip on to the next episode or to the next podcast and really determine what is the next step to being able to better understand your financials. And as we are closing out 2025, if you have on your goals to better understand your financials or have better financial organization, I have several great episodes here on the podcast all about business finances. And you can listen to all of them by heading on over to amberdelagarza.com/business finances. Again, to get a curated list of specific topics, or rather of specific episodes on the topic of business finances, you can get your hands on all of them by going to amberdelagarza.com/business finances. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.